So, you know, we always get to the point in this lecture where you can't put this on YouTube, because if you look at this and then the thenar group and the hypothenar group and you squeeze them together a little like this, well, what does that look like? It looks like a couple of ass cheeks, right? So these are the gluteus maximus of the hand. And so just as these muscles power our standing and our walking and our running, without these muscles, what could we do? They're the most powerful muscles. All the muscles around the pelvis are the power muscles. They animate movement with tremendous power. And we're trying to play the piano by relaxing all the time and relaxing all the time and relaxing all the time. And these two huge muscles stay inert. And then we wonder why we have a problem. These two muscles, the trouble is you can't just build it up like bodybuilding. You can, sometimes I do it, but many pianists are more sensitive than that. So I like to do it as I did now, where we feel, oh yeah, da, da, da. But we're doing it more by sensation than by bodybuilding. And when you do it by sensation, there's a number of advantages. You don't stress the muscle, and you feel more details. So the actions of the muscle will more exactly align to the bony structure. So you'll actually get a better stand-up. Okay? Now, there's a third muscle which is larger than all the other muscles, and that's the first dorsal interosseous. So, well, I'm going to stop, really, I promise. But apropos of your question, so 4 and 5 get help from here. Take your thumb and sort of squeeze it against the sides of your hand. Now you see this big muscle kind of bulges up. Can you make it bulge up? And then it feels like an uncooked chicken thigh. Yeah? Yeah? That's the first dorsal interosseous. And this is the inside of the hand with a thumb. But if you take the hypothenar and then the inside of the hand without the thumb, then the equivalent muscle is this first dorsal interosseous. And but this one's really complicated. So if you stood your second finger up, you would feel it starting to pull. That first dorsal interosseous, that's working. This is very important. But now look, just push down with your thumb and stand the hand up on the thumb. You'll feel the first dorsal interosseous also working. The first dorsal interosseous is a multitasker. It's involved in almost all it's involved in opposition and reverse opposition. It's involved in finger flexion and in finger extension. It's unbelievable how many things it can do, or help do. So that one, again, if you bodybuild it, well, you'll wake it up, but it's much more sophisticated than that. So we do these things with kind of sensation. Oh, how is it working here? Oh, how is it working here? Oh, how is it working here? And we assure ourselves that we're not going to get some wrong alignment. That's a lot of muscles supporting some wrong alignment, but sensorially we arrive at a way where the bones are aligned so that the bones take over the work of the muscles. Bones are hard. They transmit kinetic energy really well. Muscles are soft, and when you harden them to make the energy go through, it doesn't work so well. It freezes the structure, and then it's stiff and nothing can get through. One more thing about the weight. To play forte, I find many really great pianists, they have wonderful pianissimo, they have wonderful passage work, and when they try to play forte, there's something, they go back to the weight. So, if they just knew that, I'm going to play really fortissimo, but I'm going to use a very quick standing action, like that. And that on the keyboard sounds like this. So now I'm going to use a weighted touch, which many people use to make their forte. And now I'm going to do that. So it was just as loud, but it wasn't as beautiful. It was ugly, yeah? So the stand-up action, but did you hear? there's this horrible vibrations, all this, and now there's virtually nothing, but it's louder. So the piano is so sensitive that all those vibrations, they go into the soundboard and they actually interfere with the clear vibration of the string. The string vibration is worse quality because of these interference vibrations. And now, I played louder with no interference. The vibration of the string itself will be purer because the soundboard is not being subject to interference vibrations. So that's a practical reason why we don't want to do this, but do this instead. So, and again, when I do that, I'm using all these largest muscle groups, but I'm using them functionally, not to hold that, oh my God, resist the onslaught. Hold that structure in place. I'm growing that structure, and it keeps growing, it keeps growing. Yeah. I think, are there any other questions? Did that answer your question? Good. Any other questions? Maybe we should stop. It reminds me, I worked in Wuhan, China for a year. My daughter was actually born in China. And I worked at Wuhan Conservatory. I was guest professor there. And I would do something like this for the whole piano department. And any questions? And over and over again, every time. Any question? Then afterwards, I found out that in the culture, if you ask the professor a question, it's implying that they don't know everything and they didn't explain everything perfectly already. So to ask the professor a question is to insult the professor. So there was this dead silence, which was actually a great compliment, but I didn't understand that until later. But today we will accept your silence as enough already, and also it's time for us to have the first lesson. So thank you all for your attention. Tomorrow we can continue with this. So the rest of the day today is like 2 lessons and then lunch and then 2 more lessons. If people, yeah, that's the other thing. So you're having a lesson now, and then is our second person here? What's his name? And I believe we have 2 open lesson slots for this afternoon. So if anybody wants to jump in and have a lesson, you don't have to have your repertoire really well prepared. You could even sit here and say, well, what did you do about that scale? Or I love working with repertoire which is not well developed so that you can catch certain habits at the start. So I'm not the normal masterclass teacher that you have to already play like Horowitz, and now you can sit and play for me. You know? It's not like that at all. We're here to work, to investigate the problems and the possibilities for improvement. And then after the 2 afternoon lessons, we'll have a Feldenkrais lesson, which will happen upstairs at 4 o'clock in the sports Raum or whatever.
In the Feldenkrais room.
Feldenkrais Raum.
5:50.
Yeah, 5:50. And that's at 4 o'clock. So that's where we're going to do a full Feldenkrais lesson, lying down. Some of the Feldenkrais lessons I do at the piano, but it's not practical for this group. So we'll do a lying down, normal Feldenkrais, but specially designed for the specific problems of pianists. For instance, I didn't talk about it, but we might do something for the collarbone today, which is a very fascinating part of the body, which joins the arm to the body. You'll see, it'll be interesting. So that's all happening today, and then similar schedule tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Feldenkrais lesson will be at 5 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock to join with the regular Feldenkrais class. We're going to do a group, everybody together. And it's a 3-day workshop, so you're all welcome, and tell your friends about it. Everybody else in the school is also non-pianists are welcome. Because this Feldenkrais for performing musicians also works like violin somatics, cello somatics, voice somatics. It's Feldenkrais, but with this special insight into what a performing musician does to get themselves ready to play and what they're doing physically while they play. Great. Thank you so much for being so attentive.